Easter has come and gone, and with it, the Easter Bunny and his hidden eggs, VFWs with lukewarm fish fry and Cokes of can that cost $5. But you know what sins Jesus' death on the cross can't absolve? Listening to the podcast known as
Trapped Under Plastic. We meant to practice. We started talking.
Very true.
Man, I've never been more seen of what this podcast is in my life.
It's a perfect encapsulation of our prep for this podcast, you know?
Yeah, it was.
Just send it, bud.
Scott comes down the stairs. We started putting stuff up, and only then do we start talking about the podcast.
Yeah. There's like a whole drive here where we could be communicating about it, but no, I'm just stuck in my own hobby thoughts.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a smart thing. Maybe we do a conference call on when one of us is driving, and then we would like be all ready.
Yeah.
But maybe that would take some of the excitement away.
Okay. You think there's some excitement from the random factor?
Yeah. I like, isn't it just there's a little bit of Russian roulette. You don't know which chamber it's in.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you can probably tell, but the first thing I wanted to mention was when I came back from Adepticon, my daughter surprised me by saying, I cleaned and organized your painting studio.
Amazing.
Which, on the whole, was awesome. Like, she dusted everything. She moved everything. She vacuumed everything. But the scary part was she went through every cupboard, every drawer, took everything out and reorganized and decided herself what I should keep and what I should throw away.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Any casualties?
When I came home, I found 0 of my painting handles.
You don't need these things. They're bullshit anyways.
I was like, oh, she didn't throw those away. She had like 2 boxes. They're over there of like stuff.
Okay.
And a bunch of it was like built, primed, and just kind of like sat off to the side miniatures.
Okay.
Like the rest of the Skaven stuff for my spearhead and a bunch of Kingdom Death models and all this stuff was like, I had it like behind the monitor over there, right where I'd planned to use it later. And they were all thrown in a bucket, just like a box of old toys. so that was gone.
Okay.
And she got all these like plastic like tubs and totes and everything's in its own little box because she's very organized, like my wife. And she's like, I thought you should have a whole tote over here just filled with face masks for airbrushing. And I'm like,
okay.
Nah, dog.
Do you not use those?
No. No. So instead I took that bucket that had all like 40 face masks in it. I threw those away. And I filled it with all the tops. I have a whole bin full of tops of Redgrass game holder painting handles, the tops that they go on.
How many do you have? Like what, like 20, 30?
More than that.
What?
I have so many in there that aren't even open out of the package yet.
Oh my gosh.
I throw them out at parades like they're Tootsie Rolls.
You're on the Ninja float.
Yeah.
What is that? Just like a giant like Ninja face on wheels?
I assume I rent the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
I was just going to ask if it was a Wienermobile.
Yeah, it's a Wienermobile. And I am on top riding it like it's a big horse.
Ah, okay.
And then just at the front of the wiener, it's spray painted with just awkwardly spray painted by someone that doesn't really know how to tag, just the Ninja logo.
Okay.
On the wiener.
Just right in the face. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Probably
you're just throwing out tops for painting hand.
Yeah, tops for painting
Everyone's like, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this circle piece of plastic? The dog has decided that this is now the time for him to kick over his bucket of toys and rawhides to find something to play with. Now's the time to be as loud as possible, dog. Yeah. I think we have the cameras positioned that earlier you could see him.
Possibly.
Yeah, so if you're a audio listener and you want to see Argus, he's been here at the beginning of the episode. I'm sure he'll be back. He'll bring something smelly and covered in slobber over shortly to share with Scott.
You may also hear him snoring at some point in the podcast.
Absolutely.
Even if you are an audio listener.
Absolutely.
So this is the post-Adepticon episode. We're going to chat about Adepticon. We're going to chat about how the hobby has changed based on our observations at Adepticon. And so expect that for the episode. So let me kick it off here. I was at Adepticon for longer than I was last year, and I can feel the interest rising to be at Adepticon for like the whole event. And so I took it upon myself to message the 2 showrunners that I have emails of about having a Miniac booth at the show for the whole event next year. I kind of feel like if I'm going to do a convention as Miniac, like I've experimented with a little bit in the past with Twin Cities Con and Meeple-a-thon, I want it to be the biggest, baddest show of the year. You know, it's because I don't want to like do like, I don't want to be like Jason and do like 4 shows or however many he does. He does like maybe like even 6 or more shows a year. That's just such a hassle. And so I want to do the biggest show. And also I feel like Adepticon has kind of just like grown up with me, you know, like a long time ago, making videos every single year at the show, doing our live show here. Our live show has grown at Adepticon. You know, a big part of my brand is the show of Adepticon. So it feels kind of like, it feels right to like do a booth at the show. And so I emailed those guys. I emailed Shelly about getting a booth there. I haven't heard anything back yet. My plan is to have some kind of booth there with my products, have an event exclusive miniature, have a little table where you can sit down and paint stuff, and I'll be painting stuff there occasionally throughout the day and stuff like that. And so I'm excited. I want to give it a shot.
I think one of the reasons why that's a flip-sided coin. However, on the positives, one of the big things I think we deal with each year is like wanting to say hi or meet all the people that want to meet us.
Yeah.
And there's always inevitably people of like the message like, I didn't see you. Where are you? Blah, blah, blah. And like, it's nice because like you'd have a home base, right?
For sure. Yeah.
While vendors are open, you'll know where to find me.
Yeah.
When it comes to say hi, you want to see the cool stuff I brought, blah, blah, blah. You want to sit down and paint a model. That'll be great. So then you will feel like you will get that experience and not have that missing out. And then when you're done at 5 p.m., then hopefully enough of that will have been done and you can do what you want to do in the evening.
Yeah. Also, I'll have people there that will help me. So I'll be able to leave for an extended period of time to go like do demos, or if I want to teach a class at the show, I can go and do that kind of stuff. But so I don't have to be there all the time. But yeah, it does kind of lock you into one spot of the show for a large chunk of time.
Yeah. My guess is like your first show, your first day, you'll probably don't put much else on your calendar just because like everything's going to be like getting everything sorted, making sure everything is the way you want it. And before you know it, like time will suck away from you that first Thursday.
Yeah.
But then, you probably should then make a priority of times where it's like, all right, I'm going to walk the show hall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you and I can go walk the show hall and make bad financial decisions together, block out an hour or two and do that and then come back. I can come bring you a slice of pizza.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
If you need some pizza.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can work your booth and yell and charge way more for each product.
And bring your own products and leave them in my booth.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we're all out of Miniac stuff. However, would you like to have these Redgrass Games model top holders for your... I'm selling them for a nickel a piece. I think that's fun. It's exciting, and you get to... I really like the vendor space seems to have a lot more room to breathe now.
Yeah.
There's stuff outside. I know Goobs and Casey, they have their Goblin Hobbies booth.
I didn't see them. I missed like this middle chunk of the vendor hall because I started on the left one day and I worked all my way until I ran out of time and had no time left. And then a different day I started on the right and worked inward as well. And then like the vendor hall closed on Sunday and I missed something in the middle. And so I feel like I missed like Gamer Grass and I missed the like Goobertown stuff. So I don't know what I actually missed, honestly, but yeah.
Yeah, they were directly in the middle row,
Okay.
like middle of the middle. They were directly middle. Although I will tell you, when I said there's a flip side of that coin, I talked to Goobs and Casey both at Nova because they had their booth at Nova, and then just kind of in passing because I want to like give them space to breathe at Adepticon, but like they both look like they are run ragged.
Yeah.
It is a heavy lift. Now, granted, for them, I think they had one other person that helped them out, but in Nova, it was just them two all day, every day. So I think you need space to breathe, get something to eat, rest your voice.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'll bring Amber to help me, and I'll bring a second person as well. So even she could like maybe pop out for a little bit, and if I wasn't there, it'd be okay. Everything be covered. So
yeah, you need to stay at the hotel. You and Amber should stay at the hotel that we stayed at. I'm not going to say which one it is, so everyone takes that hotel.
Is it the one where we were eating
dogs? It's the dog hotel.
Okay.
They have dogs in the hotel, like the mascots. They have 2 golden doodle mascots.
Can you bring dogs?
I don't know if they allow dogs.
Okay.
This isn't a fancy hotel.
Right.
Us all their dogs are hypoallergenic.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
But people have like service dogs there and stuff, so you could text Amber right now and tell her to apply for service dog tags for Bullet Crusher.
Was it the one we ate pizza at after Top Live?
No, that's not the one. That's the
Okay.
one we stayed at last year, and that one's dumpy compared to this one, and it's the same price.
Okay.
I just show you a picture of our room. Our room was fucking huge. Our room was like twice the size for me, Josh, and Drew. I'm not joking when I say it was twice the square footage of the rooms that we'd have in Schaumburg.
Really?
Huge.
What is
There's
in that spot then?
They have a big TV with a big table where we sat and played Switch and had all our had our sandwich stuff.
Okay.
There's just a bunch of room. There's a big room with like a big mini fridge and a big like kind of like bar thing on top of it, and it's just more space to like put your shit in the car.
I know. There's so much shit. Like the instant you get to Adepticon, everyone just puts all of their bags on like whatever minimal counter space there is, and then it's gone for the entire weekend.
Yeah, you feel like you're living in a hoarder's house. There's like one little path that you can walk around the bed.
Yeah, you can kind of get to the couch, and the couch is like just squished in between the wall and the other bed, and it's
yeah. So it's very nice, and it was like $170 a night or something. So cool. I think you should do that instead of, because you're gonna be so gassed. It'd be nice for you just like, and it's just the little walk from the convention hall through the Skyway. You take an elevator, you're in your room. So
perfect. Okay.
I'll bring all ham sandwich stuff. That's what I'm good for. Ham sandwiches, baby. Yeah. You guys come up for ham sandwiches. I'll bring you half a ham sandwich in my pocket.
Okay, yeah. Keep it warm, dude.
Keep it warm
with the gummy bears,
dude. You want some slightly warm, damp pocket ham sandwiches.
Pocket ham sandwich, dude.
You got that pocket ham.
It's like pocket Sam, but it's edible.
But that's exciting. Yeah, I mean, we're in the main topic. We're going to dig in a little bit more of like specifics of that were like impactful stuff for Adepticon for us this year. Funny things that we kind of went through, but also how not only Adepticon has changed our painting, but like this new road that we both find ourselves on in miniature painting. But I want to say that on the way home, we did stop at Popeye's Chicken.
Oh, I saw the pic.
Popeye still bangs, dude.
I know, dude. I know.
Absolutely bangs. You know why I knew it was going to be a good day, even though I went home and didn't have a Golden Demon trophy? When we walk in and the dude is just pulling fresh out of the grease a brand new sheet of chicken. And I was like, I want all that.
I want all of that.
Yeah. Just give me that sheet of golden chicken. And it was glorious. And people, when I posted that picture, people like throwing shade at Popeyes.
You guys do not know. Popeyes is probably the best fried chicken fast food restaurant, I feel like.
Yeah, I do. Now, if you're in Popeyes sometimes can be in the ghetto. And if it's in the ghetto and it's not fresh, I can see where your quality may vary. But I think at a baseline level, it's banging. It's solid. I like me some Popeyes.
Are you a spicy man or a non-spicy man?
Oh, we go 50-50.
Oh, a little mix. Okay.
You go mix, right? So I ordered us the whole family pack. It was like 12 pieces of chicken.
Are you paying?
Yeah, I'm paying.
I thought wait, hold on. Is it only when you
lost?
Win?
I had to pay.
So you got to pay for Josh.
I had to pay for Josh and Drew.
This is Josh's payment for like helping you out the whole weekend. He gets
Josh, you get free chicken.
Yeah.
They got some. I paid for most of the dinners just because I make them go around and stand there, run a camera. Drew's gotten pretty respectable in understanding the camera tech. I had him brought the was it Osmo? Is that what those things called?
Yeah.
So he figured out how to use that, and so also it's nice he can go through and get a bunch of footage in the vendor hall. Whereas if I try to do that, like it's tough. You kind of get sunk. My term that I coined this year was the vendor hall floor is quicksand.
Yeah.
Because you go 5 steps, and it's like someone's like, "Hey, hi," which I love. We want to do that. I want to say hi to people, take pictures, and all that stuff. But it's like I can't get through it.
Right.
Yeah. Or sit in shop.
Yeah.
We did get yelled at. Oh, I might get in trouble for this one.
Ooh.
So Sunday morning, we were going to go, Vince and I were going to go into the vendor hall before it opened, like 30 minutes before it opened.
Right. I heard about that. Yeah.
Because the StarCraft guys wanted us to walk us through some stuff, show us the sprues, whatever.
StarCraft. Oh, the game StarCraft. Okay.
Yeah, the giant StarCraft booth.
Yeah.
And who I'll coin the vendor hall Nazi, who is the Adepticon staff guy, he was like, "No, you can't come in." And Vince had a badge that allowed him in. I did not, but mine said hobby instructor. He's like, no, you can't come in unless you work at one of these booths. And he's like, the owner of that booth wanted us to come in. He's like, too bad. So Vince, being the true miniature king that he is, he turns around. We go right behind us is the Elric's Hobbies booth. We get the owner of Elric's Hobbies.
Yeah.
And that guy comes up and he says to that guy, they're getting in.
Oh, nice.
And we're just watching. And he's like, it was just like, why is this such a big deal? They invited us in because we wanted to do this before so we can get some footage and stuff or whatever. So before it gets that booth was packed all weekend long. And so we could, and have a discussion without screaming at each other over everything.
Right, right.
But yeah, it was like, oh man, I just want to go see this stuff. Maybe they have people that just try to squeeze in, and it's been a long weekend. It was Sunday, and he was just sick of turning people away all morning, every morning. But they only have those doors open for like 30 minutes at 9:30, between 9:30 and 10, where the doors are open and people are coming and going, but they're only people that are setting up booths and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we got to do that.
That's cool. So how was the game?
I didn't play the game, but I did.
You got in, though.
Got in, but by the time we got in, it was like 10 minutes before it opened.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's quite a hassle to get in that.
It was a hassle.
Okay.
But you broke down game mechanics, broke down the spawning systems and all that kind of stuff, the stuff that made it feel unique. Felt very cool. I was mostly interested in picking up all the models, assembled models, painted models, on-sprue models, really checking the quality.
Yes.
I kind of had this revelation about plastics in miniatures.
Yes.
Doesn't it feel like it was 3D resin printing was the actual answer to fight, quote unquote, fight the quality of Games Workshop? Now it's feeling like, listen, we understand even if the quality is insane with some 3D printers, and I still don't think it's exactly there yet, but it's pretty close. A lot of people just don't want to have to deal with that. Like all the chemicals, all the space, all the venting,
of course,
all that stuff.
I don't want to deal with it.
I don't either.
It's nice flexibility to have it.
It is
like being able to like maybe design a model and like print out the iterations and see them in scale is super valuable. Or print something for an RPG, super nice. But if I had my way, I would just have everything in plastic.
Yeah, like all the epic basing bits shit. Like I'm like, fuck yeah, it's a perfect use for it.
Yeah.
However, I did not see this coming, this wave of small to mid-sized companies now being able to access really high-quality plastic sprues.
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more of that. And I think a big aid to this, and I want to shout this company out, even though we don't have any affiliation with them at all, is Archon Studio.
There's several, though. Archon Studio definitely is kind of, it feels like they're leading the charge. But I mentioned this in the Adepticon episode, but I'll say it again here because a lot of people don't listen to that episode, and rightly so, because audio quality this year was so fucking dog shit, and it's because we had to go through their soundboard before it came to our soundboard, and everything was like mixed together, and it was, when we started recording, it was clipping, and then I told them to turn it down, and they turned it down too much, and so the noise floor was so high, it was awful. Anyways, I'll say it again. When I was just walking the hall, some random person came up to me with a demo box of a plastic cast model. I forget the name of the company, but they had like inside a model, 2 different sizes, a big one and a small one, and they were able to give me prices on the spot for volume and what the cost of the aluminum mold jackets cost, and I think steel ones as well, and volumes of like, okay, if you do 5,000 or 10,000, this is what it cost. And like right now, I couldn't afford it, but like in like Miniac Prime, I could have done a plastic run of 5,000 models of something if I wanted to. That's crazy,
It is insane.
I never thought that'd be a possibility, like this early on,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
I think it's just that the market is shown that it's worthy for these manufacturers to really look at the specific technology instead of kind of just like makeshift making it work for a more generic plastics manufacturer out of China.
Yeah.
And because of that, and a couple of these companies like Archon out of Poland that kind of took a major risk in the whole, layout of how their company is going to go, is to really push that technology and then hope that the market and the companies that make these games will support them and partner with them to do it. And it's proven to be true.
Yeah.
The Trench Crusade models that they make are, I mean, as 92% as good as Games Workshop models.
Yeah.
Like, they're so phenomenal. They make StarCraft too.
Yes.
So the StarCraft models are insane.
Yes.
And there's other companies out of China, and maybe ones that aren't out of China as well, that make much higher quality than the things we're used to coming out of there. So,
yeah, I also stopped by the StarCraft booth just to check it out. Saw the Archon Studio badge, and yeah, all those plastics, super, super nice. Just comes down to aesthetics, and if you like the StarCraft IP and stuff like that, and yeah, great minis.
To transition slightly away from Adepticon, I saw you sent a message to the Four Horsemen chat that you had these water cups all set up, everyone different ones. Speaking of which, I don't think I have one for you, so I'm gonna have to send you home with a Ninja water.
Oh yeah, give me a Ninja water cup.
Yeah,
I need to complete the collection.
Yeah, all horsemen must be represented. And then you were hosting a hobby hangout.
I was, yes.
I want to hear about it.
Okay, it's also going to. Well, I don't need to get into what I painted, but that is also part of the story as well. But I had Curtis, I had Dan, my buddy Trip over, and we all just wanted to paint minis. While Adepticon, Dan is always so enthusiastic about the hobby and like wanting to continue that enthusiasm after the show. Mm-hmm. And so he was talking about, we got to do hobby hangouts. And I feel like whenever you talk to Dan, he's always like, my mic is
your mic just like went limp. It's like
whenever you talk to Dan, Dan's always like, "Oh, we got to play this game. We got to do this thing." Like he always says stuff like that.
Oh, he's got a list.
Yeah,
Dan's got a shopping list.
He does. And so I feel like I don't always follow up on like what Dan wants to do, but I was like, this time I really want to. And also I was like really excited to do some hobby hangouts, and so I organized something, and I would love to do it once a month with like whoever wants to hang out. It doesn't really matter who it is, but just to paint something that's not for a video or not for some kind of business related thing, and just get to chat with everyone about their projects and hear about their enthusiasm. Because if you didn't hear in the Adepticon episode, I kind of discovered that it's hard to hobby alone in isolation. Everyone knows that, but also I just get so much enthusiasm from the enthusiasm of others, especially like while we're hobbying. It's one thing to be at a game store and talking to Dan about like hobby projects you want to work on and games you want to play, but it's another thing to be at the desk like hobbying and painting at the same time and like hearing about those stories and those exciting things and getting it while you're painting. And so that was just a reason why I wanted to host that, and it went great. We had quesadillas for dinner.
Ooh, quesadillas.
I know. And then Amber made like a carrot coffee cake as well, so we had dessert later. My wife is the best host. I had a friend over yesterday. I had Trip over again. She was making cookies for us. She's amazing.
Oh, yummy.
Lovely treats. And we just hung out in the basement, and painted minis for 3 hours or whatever it was. And it was a blast. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. I had such a great time.
Yeah. Doesn't it always feel good when it's like the time goes by fast?
Yeah.
And like the time you're 3 hours up, you're like, dang, I got a lot done. But like you're not like mentally as like connected to or like worried about choices at a hobby hangout.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That was the thing that I want to talk about a lot about painting in the extended portion of the podcast is like I feel like when I'm painting for a video, I'm very goal oriented. I have things I want to finish by a certain time, but when I paint for this, like I don't even care about necessarily where the paint job is going or stuff like that. I'm just like really, really painting in the moment, as cheesy as that sounds. But it's really kind of freeing in a way, because like nothing necessarily really matters. Like there's no stakes. It's just very, very low key, and that kind of just makes painting really enjoyable.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it that way, but you're exactly right. Is you have your own schedule because you're running a business. Every business has to stay on schedule to produce whatever it is you produce.
Yeah.
And part of that is like the mini needs to be painted by this day or it needs to be done by blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And so your brain naturally has to be further away from the free, creative, artistic side to meet your deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that kind of like taints a little bit of how the actual process goes. And you're also worried about what shots I'm taking and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I really think that that's a very healthy way to do it, is like just paint without any of that associated.
Yeah. I feel like some hobbyists, I think that they have a mixture, right? So like sometimes you have an event and you need to get a thing done for that event, and that's great. And that's great for motivation. And sometimes, probably most of the time, you don't have something that's going to push you to finish a thing by a certain deadline. You just kind of paint for fun. And I feel like what we do for work, everything is deadline based, and there's very rarely something that's not deadline based. So trying to mimic as close to a normal hobbyist as possible as I can for how I interact with my hobby, I think is an important step to maintain like how much I'm enjoying painting. And so that's also part of the effort here, is just to just try to pretend to be a normal hobbyist.
Yeah, I do find though that there is some, if you lean into it, there's some good things though too, because just like you mentioned, people they have an event or they want to get their squad or their whole army, or there's all the models for the D&D campaign, whatever, painted. And sometimes it's a very specific deadline, but sometimes it's like as soon as possible so I can use them for the game. And so that mindset, often for me, it then leans more towards things that are very structured in how I present the steps to stay on track to get it done, and often leans to some form of speed painting. Because speed painting naturally happens within a somewhat defined, smaller period of time. And that means that you can expect, following these steps in this structured period of time, to get roughly this result. And that's great if those videos are what people want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was trying to think about while I was painting this thing, could I make a video out of this kind of painting? And we'll get into that more later. But are we still in the Preamble Ramble?
I think this has become this weird swamp of I'm not sure where we are. Maybe we get into what we've painted, and then because a lot of the other Preamble stuff does really apply to the main topic.
Okay, yeah.
I have this Ninja Turtles golden dollar bill that I got to show everybody.
Oh, yeah. I have the Star Wars one. Okay, cool. And now let's take a quick break from the episode to talk about our TUP partners, the first one being Steamforged Games. If you hadn't checked out their new paint range yet, P3 Paints, please do so. It's the paints that John used in his classes, and they blend super creamy-like. Give them a shot. You can find them in your local game stores and also online.
Next up is the Army Painter, and they've got a new paint cup that I think is pretty hot. It's got rubber tendrils at the bottom. I don't know if they reach up and grab you, but they help with cleaning your brushes super smooth. Also, shout out to Army Painter. My local store now carries your extra super thin plastic cement in the little jars, which is great because I can get that and support you instead of going to the big box stores.
Next on the list is Corvus Belli, and in 4 days, that new unit that we mentioned last episode, the Hathram Arrow unit, comes out. Again, as a reminder, it is a Hak Islam unit for Infinity. Also, they have their new Season 17 ITS tournament pack that you can get if you're hosting events in your game store. It has unique models, medals for first, second, and third, and all sorts of cool stuff if you're hosting an event. And lastly, don't forget the Mount Haven stuff is available as well for Warcrow. That is their dwarf faction. I have a box here. One moment. Here it is. They're gold. They're beautiful. They're dwarves for Warcrow. Check it out.
And last but not least, we've got Red Grass Games. Wow. They have the R9 desk lamp, which is my favorite to stop all the shadows on the model while I'm painting. But also, it's an amazing lamp for preventing eye strain because they are flicker free and it doesn't use any harsh blue light in the light, so you're not going to get headaches. Your eyes are not going to strain over painting for many hours. For me, that is such a big thing. So check it out. Your eyes will thank you.
Okay, so let's get into what we painted. So
let's alternate. I'll do my little one, then you do yours, and then we'll
perfect.
End with mine. So this is the model that I painted for class, for my Adepticon classes.
Yes.
And I did a oopsie poopsie.
Ooh wee.
So what I did was I counted out all the models that I needed for class. And then I added some extra models, so you have bonus models. But one factor I didn't factor in was that I also needed to paint a separate model each class. I did not count that
in. Okay, so you were one short?
I had 3 classes, so I was 2 short.
Oh, okay.
So I repainted the same model each time for classes 2 and 3. I painted over top of it.
Okay.
And you could hear the groans of the class when the initial wet blend went over the mostly
so
done
you
model.
you didn't even do it. You didn't even repaint over it before the other class started, so they saw you repaint over it.
Yeah, I use that as a
Yeah.
feature, not a bug.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like
Here's what it's going to
no
look like.
fear.
Here's what it's going to look like
Okay, yeah.
when we're done with the class.
Perfect. Yes.
And then let's go over
Anyways, annihilated.
it. Annihilated. I felt like Ben Cantor just painting over my models.
That's some serious Benjamin Cantor energy. I'm seeing some of the chainmail get a little detail clogging. Is that from the repaints or is that something else? Okay.
Oh yeah.
You can't tell otherwise though.
Right.
Also, this model is fucking so good.
Isn't it amazing?
It's such a great model, especially for like a little bit of more of a beginner kind of thing.
Yes.
Like if you swap that, the head is amazing, but if the head was like a normal human head, this would be like an amazing beginner model.
Yeah.
The pose is great. He has asymmetry with like this cloak that covers up his left side. So you gotta do that bullshit armor like of his shoulder and his arm on his other side. It's just fabric. Great pose.
Yeah, we got to do with just volumes and then working a bit on the cloak.
Yeah.
So that was, and I specifically changed to this model for this class. Now this is the third time that I've taught this class, to a model without any human skin, without a human head.
Sure.
On purpose.
Right.
Because what I found was that students got real hung up
Yeah.
on painting face.
That's its own thing, you
It's
know?
its own thing,
Yeah.
right? And this is just about understanding, jumping right to your midtone to create drama, letting the underpainting breathe, and understanding basics of painting volumes.
Right.
That's all we're doing. And if I put a human head in there, immediately there's so many more variables
Right.
that it's not even that there's more variables in how to paint that. It's kind of like your own PTSD from being a miniature painter of like, oh God, now I got to paint the tiny face.
Yes.
Right. I don't want you worrying about that.
Right.
You
You want to focus it on a 2-hour class.
Right. This also allowed me to have this aha moment for all the students at the end of the class when we painted the armor I purposely pushed it really vibrant. So there's like base coat, one smaller highlight, and then we're going to go super stark in the last one. And at the end of the class, and like it's a 2-hour class, and with like 10 minutes to go, I said, okay, now close your eyes. Now open your eyes. You just painted non-metallic metal.
There you go.
I never said the term the whole time. We never focused on what that was. I'm like, the basics of non-metallic metal is just that last step of pushing it super bright to off-white. And it's all it is. Don't get it too twisted. You know what I'm saying? So as the kids say.
Okay.
So it was just, painting volumes, painting shapes, getting the 3-dimensional, understanding the basic volumes, let that shadow breathe. Let it still live, and that was it. It's fun. It's 2 hours. It's fun. The students did great. So many students. I had a guy in there who brought his brother. They were guys probably in their somewhere in their late 40s to early 50s. I'm sorry if you guys were 38. Brought his brother with, 2 grown-ass men, and the brother sat down and he said, "This is the first model I've ever painted.
Oh, God.
I've never painted a mini before."
Okay.
I wish I would have taken a picture of his model at the end. It was legit solid. And he's like, "I just did what you told me to do." I'm like, you're not like covered by the baggage.
Yeah.
Right. It was just watch, listen. It's 2 steps. We're not going to overthink anything, whatever. And he did great. And I was like, oh man, that feels so good. And he's like, I want to do another one. When I get home, I'm like, all right, that's it. Can you say that on camera? No, I didn't do that. But like students did amazing. It was so much fun. I think that the conventions go by so freaking fast that I found when I teach at least one section, and I think that would be, you'd really enjoy at least teaching one section, even if you have your booth at Adepticon, because like it raises your like level of like not only feeling accomplished, but feeling like you got to spend worthwhile time with the group of painters and have fun and just kind of share some stuff, and it just like raises my positivity on the whole con, which is why for the first time, as a little spoiler, I wasn't upset that I didn't win a Golden Demon. I mean, I was upset, but I wasn't like I crushed.
Yeah.
So
I kind of feel like it's also like a really nice break from like the noise of the con. You just
It
go
is.
into this room, you close this door. There's only 15 or however many people in this room, and it's just you and them for the next 2 hours. And
Yeah.
so it's a nice little break of pace.
yeah, it is. You're right, and Adepticon does an amazing job of having all the gear you need. Every section has a wet palette.
Beautiful.
Everything's got a painting handle. You have
Beautiful.
nice game envy lights. Like
They figured it out, dude.
Their system is on lock. They got paper towels. They got the water jugs on the side to fill up your water cups and put new water in your wet pallets. Pro tip though, unless you are teaching a very like advanced class, always take the first 5 to 10 minutes of your class and walk through setting up a wet pallet with your students.
Yeah.
It is surprising how many people are starting off 2 steps behind because their wet pallet's a hot mess.
100%.
Most times it's too dry.
I learned that at the Dutchess class we taught in Minnesota.
Yeah.
People just like have insane wrinkles in their paper. Their paper is covered with water or like whatever it is. Just so many things that are just making it so much harder to use their own tools.
Yeah. It's like 5 minutes. All right, let's all set up our wet pallets together.
Yeah.
Just do exactly what I'm doing here.
Mm-hmm.
I like to put it akin to, you want it almost like a lily pad on a swamp. That paper should almost be floating free form.
Mm-hmm.
If you're to there and it's completely dry on top, you got any moisture that went over the top, you wick that off with the paper towel. Boom. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Boom. Let's go. What did you paint?
I kept painting the ogre from Cursed City. So I would love to at some point have the entirety of Cursed City complete. I'm pretty close. I'm way over the halfway point, probably over the 3/4 point. I only have maybe like 5 models left. But they're all very detailed character models. So
Yeah, they are.
it's a lot to paint. And so I painted the blue fabric on him and also that lovely shoulder armor as well. I was so excited to paint that shoulder because it has so much great detail.
It is. Without being over detailed.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the rest of the model is kind of over detailed. He's got a lot of shit on his waist. A lot of stuff.
Yes.
But it was so enjoyable to paint that blue fabric and just take some super skinny ass size 0 brush with really long bristles and just crisp everything. Like,
It is both smooth and has its own unique texture. And that, sir, is gorgeous.
Yes.
I love it.
Like the glove has a little bit of a stripy texture, the elbow, a little bit of a texture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I wasn't thinking a whole lot about highlight placement. I was just kind of doing whatever was natural. His skin is like a combination of purple in the shadows, yellow in the highlights, which gives us really like kind of almost like deathly, like he's not alive kind of skin. So I didn't know what to do for the color. So I picked blue and then I mixed my highlights with a yellow again, kind of make them feel a little similar. And he's starting to feel like really cold and frosty. And so I kind of want to lean into that and make him maybe a little bit like a frost ogre or something like that. He's got gold teeth. I don't know. Some kind of mercenary ogre who's blinged out, maybe from the cold north of Warhammer Fantasy's universe. But yeah, I'm excited to finish this model now a lot just because I put a few extra hours into painting some of those details. One thing that I tried out for the first time on the shoulder was I just used metallics and normal acrylic paint, and the first base coat was a straight up navy blue, and then the next base coat after that was a combo of 50-50 navy blue and a metallic silver from AK Interactive, and that mixture looked metallic immediately. It did not look like a stepping point. It was like almost full-blown, just really vibrant blue metallic, and then from there I went straight into metallic silver and then a brighter metallic silver. And it looks really cool, it looks almost magical, how blue it is and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed, doing what little painting I did for those 3 hours on that model.
But it feels, the metallic blue shoulder, it feels like in world with the story that you're kind of figuring out as you go.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the other thing. Oh my God. Okay. I know what my inspiration was for this model. So a long time ago, when I played fantasy, played an army called the Empire, and the Empire is broken into several different states, and the state that I picked was Middenheim, and I'm making this a Middenheim hired ogre, and so Middenheim's colors are blue and white and this rich, warm gold color, and so the trim of his armor, of his shoulder is going to be done in gold. Other accents are going to be done in this rich, warm gold color, and that's going to be kind of like the warm color that's kind of laced throughout the paint scheme, and then the rest of the silvers are going to be that kind of like cold blue color, and I want to like add some kind of like checkered fabric somewhere where it's like white and blue checkers, to make him feel like a Middenheim ogre, kind of a callback to an old army I used to have in paint.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
The only worry is the checker. There's so much, like you said, there's so much shit going on here. Does the checker become too much? Or a lot of these details can kind of all fade in. They'll be defined, but they don't need to be big stark differences and jumps in color. And just picking whatever neutral colors you're going to use and just mix in just a brush tip full of some cool color, some form of a blue to keep them in that cool kind of area.
So it's less visually messy. I don't know where those checkers would go. I was thinking maybe the elbow, maybe that like knee that I painted.
He's got a knee pad on his right knee.
Maybe the knee pad could do a little quarter thing, that actually.
That's got enough of a space to breathe for it to be a fun detail without taking a year to do because you have such a big section. Or you could do it there, and then he's got a leather helmet with a metal stud that goes right down the middle. It'd be like one side of the helmet could have some checkers,
and that's what I'm gonna do.
That's fucking that would be sick.
That's a sick idea.
Sick. I love that model so much.
I know, dude. All Cursed City models are so fucking good.
I know.
Actually, ironically, the ones I like the least are the two necromancer-ish, like the animal guy and then like the guy with the giant shovel. For some reason, I'm not as keen on those two guys, which are like the bad guys, which you think I would like those. But the heroes, for some reason, really fucking do it for me.
Yeah, because they feel a little bit more gothic, dark hero kind of inspired.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate about you. Very cool. That's pretty exciting that you're like, you can see the finish line.
Yes.
Of that whole set, and you've done a lot of the most complicated, most kind of intense models too.
And I've also like not really like hedged the right word. I haven't really like cut back on quality. Like everything that I've done for that set has been like I've tried pretty fucking hard on painting it. Even like the skeletons, from my AOS army. Like those look really cool too.
I will say that I did paint Shovel Guy, and
yes,
I was
you did.
I was the same as you. As like, I'm gonna knock this guy out because he doesn't excite me as much, and I enjoyed him a lot more than I expected.
Okay.
Because he's more simplistic compared to these. Okay. You just have fun with the wild, nasty zombie skin.
He's also big. He feels
big. He's a bigger zombie too. Yeah, he's not huge, but he's big enough to where like you get more room to work and have fun with color transitions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Enough about me.
Why don't you pick up the boingy?
Let's look at this glorious model.
Boingy, 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 boingy. That's the finished Golden Demon piece, and it is a duel between Severith, the Flying Fox, and Swamp Troll.
You fucking nailed the resin.
Yeah, it came out all right. Yeah, I learned some things. I actually got some good feedback too from the Bug King, and he told me when you place your plastic card around to create your dam, he says put the top edge of that plastic card where exactly you want the top lip of the water to be. Because when you do that and you pour it, it won't raise up past it.
Yeah.
So you get that perfect flat. I have a little bit of a lip, and I went through and like refilled over top with more UV resin to kind of level it out, but it's still not 100% perfect.
Okay.
If you're looking for it, you can see it, but it's not immediately obvious.
Yeah. I don't mind it because it's not distracting, It's not like the edge is like frosty and everything else is crystal clear. The edge is also crystal clear, so that works for me. Okay, talk to me about this. Give me the post-mortem.
I when I finished it, it's one of these big projects when you have to work in so many like sub pieces. The closer you get to the end, the more you freak the hell out that it's when it all comes together, it's not going to look like how you planned on it. And so that was pretty big with this. And then leading up to placing Severith on the base to get her pose exactly right, to get that arrow lined up exactly right, to make sure that his one eye is just turned, like the glint of his eye is just pointing the direction of her, like he's just before the start of the duel. And what I learned was, if I want to take an analytical look and maybe something I faulted at, when you envision a scene and you picture your story, what you don't take into account is that your vision of it is going to be the immediate impact of someone seeing it for the very first time. And the biggest critique I got on the piece was, it doesn't look like they're in a duel. He doesn't know she's there yet. And I said, I know that was the whole point.
Yeah, it's the first strike.
Right? This is 2 seconds before the duel begins, where she flies up out of the woods like silent, and she's hunting him, and he doesn't know yet. I can also see that criticism.
Yeah, that's the hardest kind of feedback, though.
Right?
It's like, I know that.
That's the intention.
That's the intention, yeah.
And they're like, it would be stronger if his head was cocked and looking up at her. It was like, that was it. It was like, just do that one thing. I'm like, oh, just carve and re-sculpt his entire neck, shoulder, and all those muscles, because it's not just your head turns and no other parts of your body's turn to make it feel organic. I get that. I respect that. I don't think that they're necessarily right or wrong, but that was my intention, and I did not even consider the fact that people would think that I didn't do it. Like I made a mistake on purpose when that was my intention, was for it to look this way.
Right.
So that was kind of a hard thing, but in its own way, I was like, but I'm okay with that. So if your critique is that it doesn't look like he realizes they're in a duel yet, when that was my intention, then okay, I'm okay with that.
Mission accomplished.
Right.
Yo, this flaming arrow. Woo!
Yeah.
I love it. It looks
thank
so
you.
good, dude.
Thank you.
It's so intensely bright right by the arrowhead. Like you've absolutely nailed the heavy metal burning thing with smoke on the edges. Look, it's so fucking good.
You know, I didn't get a step-by-step on how to do that, but I just stared at all of the flames that Darren Latham paints.
Yeah.
And I tried to copy it.
100% like beautiful rendition.
Yeah, it doesn't go to like a pure red. It goes from like the flames go from like a burnt orange to like a burnt red. There's no pure red in there, and then quickly to smoke. So there's actually much less red in flames than you think is there.
Yeah, it's a lot of orange.
Yep. And so that was like trick, and I was pretty happy with how that turned out. I'm happy with her. I had a couple of wonderful Germans, very, very good.
There was a little contingency of Germans. I saw them.
I know, they were wonderful. The thing that I loved about, you know what I love about German miniature painters? This is kind of true of Germans in
They're
general.
just straight to the fucking point.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
They will, and they are not trying to hurt your feelings or whatever. They will just shoot directly into your heart.
Yeah.
And what two of them told me separately. Now, I think because they were Germans, they had discussed my piece or whatever. And they said, if you rip her off the base and enter him into Age of Sigmar large, you walked home with a demon this year. And I'm like, fuck. But I'm so proud of the scene. Like, I'm so like, how many people that were like, how is she floating like that?
Yeah.
How is that thing holding up? How does that work? Whatever. And I'm like, that's part of the fun. I was like, it's unique, and you take a risk. And it's what I've learned about Golden Demon is that if you put yourself out there on something, it can't actually help you. It can only ding you. And so the fact that this was set up the way it was, I think hurt me. Even though I'm so happy with it. And I think it's the piece that, like, when I show it to my parents or other people that aren't into miniature painting, it's the one thing that I've done that they can, I think, most feel the artistry that I put into the work.
It's a little bit of magic, you know? And
Yeah.
it's easy for someone who is a layman to look at it and feel that magic without knowing anything about the hobby.
Yeah.
Because it's like that model is so lightweight that can be held up by this thinnest plastic ribbon.
It's metal. It's not plastic. It's brass.
That?
The ribbon is brass.
Oh.
That's why it bounces so much. I wanted it to act more like a coil or a spring.
But it's so thick.
Yeah. You can buy brass sheets. So I brought a brass sheet and just scored it to the exact width of where it meets over here. And then you have much more freedom to bend and get the exact flow of shape you want. And then even when you glue it in, there's a bit of bend that I could set it to the exact proportion.
Right. You weren't locked in.
Yeah.
So how did you curl it without fucking getting it all wrinkly and shitty? Because I feel like with brass, it always it takes impressions so easily.
So I started with the initial shape with 2 needle nose pliers to get the initial shape.
Yeah. So how did you not chew up the brass with the needle nose pliers when you were crimping?
Very, very gently. And what I would do oftentimes is I'd use my thumb, because your thumb's got a natural curve, and I would use that as my bend point.
Okay.
So I would say I want the bend to be here. I'd wrap that around my thumb, and then I'd pull, and it gives me a natural and a bit of cushion from the pad of your finger.
Okay.
And I used my fingers a lot to kind of just smooth it out. And then I found when I went in with steel wool that I used steel wool with like a leather glove on, and I'd pinch it hard with steel wool between both of my fingers. And so while I'm getting a little bit of roughness so paint will adhere and get the corners from being razor sharp to having that plastic
you cut
feel.
it. Yeah, a little bit of burr.
Yeah. And that, like, I'd smooth and smooth and smooth. And this was the very last thing I did to complete this piece, like 3 days before Adepticon, and I had no idea how I was going to make that happen. I still hadn't decided on brass. I had plastic kits. I had somewhat roughly designed a 3D print, right? I have this metal. I was like, I worked on all three for like 2 days simultaneously to figure out what would come to pass. And the main reason I went with this was the flexibility of once I have it in there, I can still manipulate it because it's metal.
Yes. And also because it is flexible and like you're going to move it around, it's going to bounce. It's not brittle. It has less chance of breaking, you know? So I think that was a great choice.
Because if that was resin or plastic and it breaks, I'm completely fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah.
There's no way you can fix that without it looking like complete ass.
Yeah.
So it all worked out in the end, and it ended up being like, oh my gosh, this actually worked. And then the bittersweet feeling of like, yeah, but the fact that you have her on there at all, like there was a moment where I was like, I don't know if I can get this done and get her on there. And if I'm being perfectly honest, she's not as well painted as the troll.
I agree, but I don't think it matters though.
She's not painted poorly. I just don't think she's up to the level of him, and it's partially because the way the scene is, he's in the foreground, and she's you get value of if you take a photograph, her slightly out of focus.
Yeah.
It's like it adds to the scene.
Yeah. I think the important things that need to be painted well are painted well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it needs to be painted as well as him. At least if I were a Golden Demon judge, that'd be my opinion. I could fill this episode with questions about this mini. I could seriously interview you for an hour about it. But I want to ask one question for sure. What would you do differently next time if you were to re-go at Golden Demon? Not necessarily with the same piece. You can answer it that way if you'd like to.
Yeah. Little things. I would have carved in deeper on the front for the resin pour.
Just like to have some more
variability. Just towards the edge, push it down so that was more of dramatic of seeing that water.
Okay.
That's a thing. And I didn't really even kind of come to that realization until the resin pour was done. I was like, oh, I think I could have gone deeper on the front end. A little thing there. Maybe I purposely wanted him to not to feel part of the environment, to be but to be much more saturated and more eye-catching in color than the background and the base. I think I could have bridged that gap maybe a little bit more.
You think the base is too desaturated? There's too much contrast?
I don't think that it's too desaturated. I think that it's painted more in a realism style compared to him. Now, the same painting techniques were used, so there's not a dichotomy there.
Yeah.
And even like the wood on his clubs compared to the wood on the trees is very similar.
Yeah.
Purposefully painted that way.
Right.
Part of his environment. But he doesn't look as weathered or muddy or whatever. And I made that decision because I didn't want that to detract.
Yeah.
So, but maybe there's a middle ground there. Maybe a little bit more vibrant, saturated, fantastical colors in the base a little bit. But I don't even know if this is maybe something. She is the great model for this scene and basically inspired this scene. But she fucking sucks to paint.
Yeah.
She's a miserable model, and I didn't really truly grasp this. I've heard it said before, but I never grasped it until I went through it myself. There are models that are amazing models for Games Workshop that you simply should not paint for Golden Demon, and she is 100% one of them.
Yeah.
Because of the details on her and the lack of like space to let you showcase how good your painting is, it's so hard to push her up to that level.
Mm-hmm.
The model just does not cooperate. So in hindsight, maybe there was an entirely different model. Maybe it's a Daughters of Cain that they're like jumping pose or something like that, and he's just turned up a little bit, and you get a little bit more line of sight. Anyway, I wanted to deal with the depth. So that's something you don't see in dioramas, is kind of like tiers of layers of depth. wanting to work within what Golden Demon allows while getting inspired by like the painting frame stuff that Roman Lapat does, right? He deals with perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to keep everything the same scale, but also give you a level of depth and perspective. And so anyway, I was happy. And I'm going to move it now because otherwise he's going to slobber or hit it with his tail.
Is there a way to identify a model that might be beautiful but also miserable to paint for a competition? Is it just like it can't be held well? Is it's very dynamic and twisting around and stuff like that? What are like the key things to look for?
I think the first thing is you need to make sure that it's got such a strong, what you'd call a golden angle, that when viewed ideally, that it really showcases your painting ability and all the nuance of work that you put into it.
Okay.
She is so kind of movement all over the place, and her bow's in front of her, and you can't see a lot of that. She has tiny, tiny filigree on all of that white armor, and I felt like when you're dealing with a named character, because you have to paint in universe, I would not have painted that armor white, but I had to paint it white because that's the character. And I would get DQ'd if she wasn't painted white. And that was miserable to paint that white. And to edge highlight every tiny little filigree on everything was super, super difficult, especially because what you mentioned, you can't put her in a painting handle in any way to make it easy to access and have great control. I was basically painting hamstrung the whole time with my level of brush control. Because she's flying, you can't attach her to anything. And so trying to find a tricky way to attach her, and that's by like a single pin through her back where the quiver would cover, it's not stable at all. It was miserable.
Okay.
So it's almost like I could tell you if I looked at the model, but I don't necessarily. And I don't even know if I have 100% certainty that every model that would be miserable to paint, I would be able to identify. I think sometimes you just kind of have to get into it and hope for the best. But it's got to have enough room to showcase your painting ability. And certain models just don't. They're too small and fiddly, or not enough space to breathe on the model.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. On to the main topic.
I thought we had to do mini painting critique.
On to that. Who do we got to give some feedback to?
Nathan Dunn. Oh, look at this scary werewolf. He's got a werewolf here.
Okay.
Wearing armor and having a big two-handed sword. I prefer my werewolves to be fully armored. You know what I'm saying? Although you're less nimble and you could take less advantage of how quickly you can enter a fray and get out of battle as a werewolf if you're wearing full plate armor.
Oh, dang, dude. Okay, this is painted really nicely.
It is.
I don't actually recognize where this model is from.
I don't either. However, I just described what it was, so everyone can just Google that.
Google John's description, and I'm sure you'll find it.
Just say, "Hey Alexa," and then push replay what I said. Okay, so we've got some NMM on the sword. We've got some nice gradient of teal on the edge lining of the armor with the red
trim.
armor.
Yeah.
I like the color composition where it's mostly a cold colored model, and then he chose to go like a really rich red for the interior plates of the armor, and that really creates a nice contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Also going mostly quite dark with all the armor and going with a really pale, cool white for the fur color of the wolf.
Yeah, I agree. The scheme is really well done to the point where, you know, the blue of the fur matches the blue of the sword blade, but like the sword blade is a lower value than the fur, so it feels different. The trim on the armor, it lives in that cold world, but it's a different kind of blue. It's teal now, so we're adding in a little bit of yellow, getting that teal effect. It's a really well put together scheme. I think the area where you might be able to improve, what do you think, Dobby? I think that would be in just crisping up some details. Like, I see a lot of fur on this. I don't see a lot of like differentiation of the individual strands of fur. It's like almost like the first step you took on this model was to airbrush the fur, and then you started cutting in every other detail, but you didn't go much further on the fur than just like a nice airbrush blend, which I can see and it looks good. It's not even like it's not like a zenithal highlight. You did more work with the fur with an airbrush than a zenithal highlight. But I want to see some individual crispiness on that fur and stuff like that.
Yeah. In relating to the fur, I think the fur and the ground color are so close in kind of color and value that I'm just like, I lose that. And not that you can't have a kind of snowy base, but I would like to have a little bit more of like the bare earth exposed on that base, especially around where his feet meet that base. So that'll kind of just define the differentiation, and then you could still have some of that snow there. I like that you really pushed the edge, or excuse me, the boosting up of the highlights on each of the shapes of the teal armor, because that's a lot of that you had to paint. I would like you to then also take your brightest or second brightest color and edge highlight all of the edges of those plates as well, because that'll really define, and that's where light is going to catch on those crisp edges, and that'll really define those shapes really well for you and help them stand out where they meet the red, where they meet the dark shadows, and really kind of push that as a shiny surface. You're off to a great start, and honestly, you've done the hardest part of it already. Just defining the edges is the next step.
Yeah. I love the yellow eyes. I think they're very striking, and they're very different for the scheme, and so they stand out well, and I like how they stand out. And I feel like the story of our feedback is going to be kind of similar on everything. It kind of feels like this is like 80% of the way to an amazing paint job, and the last thing it needs is just a few defining paint strokes.
Yep.
If I look at his red shoulder pad, lovely zenithal highlight, nice highlight right in the center of his like skull armor pauldron. But like what I'm missing is like the detail of the teeth, you know? I want to see some dark lines in between those teeth, maybe some tiny little highlights on those teeth. I want to see brighter highlights on the socket of the skull, like the lower part, you know? I want to see that same highlight you have on his forehead, maybe a slightly reduced one brought back to the underside of that socket to really kind of enunciate that rounded shape that they have on skulls. I want to see, like, there's like carvings and like runic carvings in the skull and the forehead and stuff. I want to see those enunciated with a little bit of a recessed shade. I'm not going to say that's easy to do, but that's the next step to make this thing really be amazing looking, is to really kind of make those small details pop out.
Yeah, you got it, Scott. You fucking nailed it.
Fucking nailed it, brother.
Great work, Nathan. We appreciate you sending in your mini for us to poop on. If you would like us to poop on your mini, it is one of the benefits you get for joining the Trapped Under Plastic Patreon is a thank you for you supporting us for keeping this weird podcast going. You can send in your minis for us to critique. We critique one every episode. You can also give us topic ideas for the show. We use those a lot. So seriously, please keep sending them in. We love your unique takes and ideas and topics. I think there's other things that they can do as well, but I cannot remember.
All right, time for our second time in the show. We're going to shout out some of our TUP partners, starting off with Game Envy. Game Envy is an amazing place that sells a bunch of awesome hobby accessories, lights, hobby holders, wet palettes, a Ninjon branded wet palette. They're amazing. Me and John both use the Exemplar wet palette as our main daily driver wet palette. We love it. They have a bunch of awesome hobby tools. Check them out. Link down in the description below, along with all of our other TUP partners as well.
Yeah. Also, a big quick shout out to Game Envy for supplying a bunch of free giveaways for the TUP live show that I threw into the crowd and stuff.
Yeah, and almost caused someone to go to the hospital, apparently.
Yeah, whatever. It almost doesn't count. When you throw a wet palette like a frisbee into a group of people as hard as you can, sometimes bad things happen.
Sometimes, yeah.
But it shows you how good the quality is because the wet palette didn't break.
Nice.
Next up, we've got Monument Hobbies. You may have heard about the whisperings of the Monument Hobbies One Step. The Monument Hobbies One Step paint is coming in May of this year. So just a couple weeks away. You'll be able to get it at the Monument Hobbies website or at your local game store, because you should tell them to carry Monument Hobbies if they don't already. They're great and work well with friendly local game stores. But this is a one-step color solution that goes on super smoothly. It's super clean. It gets nice, great coverage and flows where it needs to flow, and you get as much color depth as you expect, which when you use it for the first time, I can attest, you will notice the difference between that and the other one-coat promises you get out there.
And lastly, we have Iwata. Iwata is John and I's chosen airbrush brand. We love the Iwata HPCS. I love the Iwata HPBH. But more than just being a company that makes amazing airbrush tools, Iwata is also just so invested in airbrushing as an art form, whether it comes to highlighting the artists themselves, putting on classes and events for weekends to invite people out to teach artists how to best use their products so the information is good that's going out there online. They're really invested in just the art of airbrushing and the education of it and stuff like that, and have been for the years that the company has been operating. So Iwata is not only a great creator of tools, but also just great for our hobby in general. Check them out. The tools are great for pros and also beginners alike.
And a quick shout out to Iwata, the HPCS. Is that the one I use?
Yeah.
Yeah, the HPCS, that's what I use to entirely paint that ribbon. All of that is all done with an airbrush.
Nice.
Super smooth of blues, purple inks, white inks, gradation smoothly. And it's like, even there was touch-ups I needed to do once I attached it.
Yeah.
And the precision on that sucker, I was able to do it and not get overspray on stuff that I didn't want to get on. So
Nice.
Primo tool, I knew I could trust it. So great job. All right, main topic, my brother. Okay, first things first. I need to talk about my Ninja Turtle dollar bill.
First things first.
All right. So we often get nice little treasures, presents, surprises from people that meet us at conventions. We got some amazing Chilean candy from Gomi again this year.
Already consumed.
All right, might as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I got a wonderful UK Cadbury nut and fruit bar from a wonderful lady that took my class. And I was like, nuts and fruit in my chocolate. What are you doing to me, lady? This sounds miserable. And she's like, trust me, it's better than it sounds.
Okay.
And she was right.
Okay.
So shout out to Steph. You killed it with that. But we got something weird. I got two weird things this year. And this was one of them. After TUP Live, the gentleman came up and gave Scott and I each a golden dollar bill.
It's a bill of some kind. Yeah.
Mine is 10,000. I think it's yen. I think it's Japanese. I think it's yen. It says Nippon Ginkgo. Yeah, 10,000 yen. It says on the back. And it's Ninja Turtles.
And it's gold foiled.
It's gold foiled, and it's got Ninja Turtles on it on the front and back. And you got a Star Wars one.
Yeah. I got like a USD $100 bill with like the Emperor on it and the whole cast of Star Wars in the back too. Also gold. It was a very cool like collector's like item.
Yeah, and his story behind giving them to us was that like I remember he like saw them some random place
At a gas station.
Yeah, gas station.
Yeah.
And he thought of us, so
Yeah.
he got us each a Ninja Turtle and a Star Wars gold dollar bill.
He like came up and he was like, Scott, you like Star Wars, right? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And he was like, John, you like Ninja Turtles, right? And you were like, yeah, 100%. And he was like, look at these things. And it's like, oh, okay.
The other weird thing that I got, and I hope I don't get this guy in trouble for saying this, but he's like, I heard you talking on the podcast a while back about how you use Milwaukee tools.
Yeah.
And you talked really highly about your cordless Milwaukee tools. And I'm like, yeah, that's all I buy. It's all I use.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes out his backpack and he says, I'm an engineer from Milwaukee Tool Company.
Oh, fuck.
I do battery testing.
Okay.
And he hands me 2 batteries.
Oh, nice. Like big fat ones?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he's like, he told me some more details that I'm not going to say because it might get him in trouble, but he didn't do anything illegal or anything wrong, whatever. But he was like, I want you to have these. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing, random thing anyone's ever given me. Because these are like $90 a pop.
I know, yeah.
They're so expensive.
That's so cool.
It's always good to have backups charging and whatever. So it was like, I got Ninja Turtles golden yen and I got Milwaukee battery.
That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard you get, but also incredibly useful.
I know.
Very practical.
I know. I'm like, this is great. This is not like the bucket full of stickers I come home with from Adepticon every year that I don't know what to do with. I stick them on everything. Usually my daughter takes all my stickers and I just find them stuck on random things around the house, which is also great.
Yeah.
But, I already used that. I had to do some Sawzall in earlier. Yeah. Got her done.
There you go.
Works great.
All right, lead me into this topic.
All right. So I wanted to touch briefly on anything that we took away from Adepticon that stood out in our minds to just kind of, unpack that. But more importantly, it kind of feels like, you've been going through a change in how you approach the hobby and how you think about or enjoy the miniature painting aspect. And I've kind of recently came to a similar position because of Adepticon and Golden Demon.
Okay.
And I thought it was a good time for us, a timely time for us to discuss this.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say is that when we get into this hobby, it doesn't matter how old you are, you don't kind of think about long-term future, and you don't think about like where your hobby is going to end up taking you and your painting. It just kind of happens organically, which is the way I think it should. But I think that I've found that as I've gotten older, and I'm like, I only have so many minis left in my life. Now, I don't think I'm going to die anytime soon.
Like that one guy at TUP Live. It was
right?
like, you know, I'm dying, but
like, ooh, awkward moment. But like, how do I, you know, how does, now that I'm more up there in age and in miniatures painted, how does that affect, or how does that make me think about how I want to approach the next kind of chapter of my journey in miniature painting? Because we kind of just assume like, well, I'll keep painting and I'll keep getting better, you know, as long as I keep doing it, which is true.
yeah,
Which is true.
it's interesting. I don't think I really think about the long term, you know, maybe like you're suggesting it here, but I'm curious how thinking about the long term is, you know, affected your decision making though. Go on.
So basically I came to this bit of a realization that when I paint my hardest, when I paint, you know, most sweaty competitive John painting is for Golden Demon each year. And the painting style that I use and the way that I approach the painting process, the way that I approach each section of the model, the way I choose colors, all this stuff is really very rigid because there's a lot of guardrails I need to stay within to paint for Golden Demon.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of come to this realization that I don't want to do that anymore because I think for the long term of my satisfaction, of my growth, of what could really end up being the version of painting that I feel is truly me, I have to break away from that. And it's not that I don't enjoy it, because that's one thing too, is if people be like, oh, you're painting for Golden Demon, you're having to paint the way that they want you to paint, which is kind of malarkey anyways, because all different styles win Golden Demons.
Yeah.
So that's reassuring. When I see Kaha come home with 2 more demons this year, I mean, her art style is so unique and so truly her that it is rewarding amazing execution on a specific style. I want to explore that more. And I don't know exactly what that looks like. And I don't know exactly where that's going to take me. Yeah. And it's entirely likely that takes me a step back or 2 steps back, which was the hardest thing for me, as I've seen progress in how I've placed and how well my pieces looked year over year, that I knew if I made that decision, I am saying I have to be okay with, you know, the potential that I'm taking to step back and how I perform. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of my weird point of like, I leave Golden Demon and I want my pieces to read more as John.
Okay.
So,
and at the moment, you don't necessarily know how exactly that's different. Or, I mean, I know how like John would paint like a 5-hour single model paint job.
Right.
But what does a 100-hour John paint job look like? That's the thing you're kind of thinking about right now?
Yeah. What is that? Because the level of style and use of colors and doing underpainting and relying a lot on texture and stuff, that is specifically for a shorter paint or time to paint. Right. So how does that adapt and evolve? I think, I don't know exactly, but I think my short like elevator pitch to myself is much more drama through color.
Okay. Like big like color swings, big contrast.
Yeah, and like inspired by things like how Roman Lapat just feels so free in his use of color, and no weird stroke in a shadow or a random highlight that just there's randomly a yellow on the peak of a you know, a cheek or whatever. Like, not being afraid to bring colors in dramatic ways, but also refined so everything feels purposeful,
Right.
and not haphazard.
Okay. I think. Do you think that also is going to impact your decision for category and like model selection and stuff like that as well?
Maybe,
Did
but
you
I
pick
also
stuff?
think that like their inspiration for what you want to paint, in a you know, kind of a piece that excites you is equally as important, and then just trying to find, with working within those means, a way to tell that story through paint as best you can. Because if I was strictly going to try to do this from an exploratory, pushing myself from that manner, I would gravitate towards something big.
Okay.
I'd gravitate towards something like a big monster or a big tank or a something. And I don't necessarily think it has to be that way. In fact, that may be too overwhelming because you're pushing everything so far. You're just like, I can't control it all.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
So yeah, I just, you know, I don't look back at this piece and say like, oh, it was miserable and I didn't like painting it. There were certain aspects of it I really, really enjoyed, and those final refinement steps that I've learned and I've honed over the years, I will still be using.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just the beginning stages of painting, like the first 50% of any surface you paint for Golden Demon, is so, I mean, basically heavy metal inspired style is what I'm talking about. Is so boring. And it is so hyper focused on precision from step one.
Yes.
And I want to break that first 50% of relying on that. And then I'm thinking the final 50% that refinement parts will be vaguely similar, pretty similar.
Okay. And is that what's inspiring this kind of choice? Is just to like make the entirety of the paint job or closer to 100% of the paint job be more enjoyable? Or have you like just kind of already proven to yourself that you could play by the rules of the game and get a trophy if you want to, and now you're going to try something else?
I think a big part of it was not winning this year and kind of being okay with that, because not until I didn't come home with the demon, did I truly get that realization moment with myself that I don't need that to justify myself anymore. I think having won 2 years in a row, I didn't know of like, one, there was a ton of I put a ton of pressure on myself. A lot of people, comments saying like, well, you got bronze, you got silver, this year's gold. And realizing that I not only did not get gold this year, but I did get not a trophy at all. And kind of realizing like, oh, that didn't like kind of crush me, which is good. So let me embrace that kind of feeling of freedom of not being chained to this expectation I put on myself.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of like, I spent so much time refining a quicker paint exploration of use of paints in a short period of time. I feel like that's kind of the next logical step for me in my journey, is like figuring out what that's like and how does that change my painting steps and my process if I spend more time on it. And that feels like something I've not scratched the surface of at all. So it's something that now intrigues me. So now is when I choose to do it.
Okay. Yeah, Golden Demon is really interesting. I feel like something that I am learning this year more, and I think I've kind of learned it over many years of looking at Golden Demon, but there's obviously the aspect of painting a thing extremely well and extremely intentional that we all totally understand. But I think obviously now more than ever, it's very, very important to stand out. And there are many ways to stand out in Golden Demon. I think the riskiest way to stand out in Golden Demon is just trying to stand out purely based on your painting talent.
Yeah.
Because everyone that enters into that competition is extremely talented at painting.
And it's thrown dart at a board at that point.
Right.
What specific model do they like more? What
Exactly.
tiny aspect of it do they like more? That really doesn't come down to the extra 200 hours you spent on refining.
Yeah.
You know, because like that kind of doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. Like, and this is going to come off as like egotistical, but in my category was stacked, and there's a lot of amazing painted pieces. I think my troll was the best painted model in that category, and it's not particularly close. And I learned that didn't matter. So if that doesn't matter, then okay, I'm just going to do wherever the wind takes me now, that excites me now.
Yeah.
And so I painted the way that they typically reward. I'm so proud of that. That troll's the single best model I've ever painted. And it's not just me saying that from a perspective that means it's better painted than other people's. I held them all in hand, not just looking at them through the case. And so I was just like, no, I was low pressure. I just was like, oh, I feel okay. Even if I didn't win, I felt really proud of where I stacked up, and that's not going to necessarily reward you. So if you're only painting for the trophy, then you are sooner or later going to crash and burn, and it might not just crash and burn you entering Golden Demon. It might crash and burn you as miniature painting entirely, and I do not want that.
Right.
You know? I take a lot of good wisdom and experience from Sam Lenz, as he's been doing this for a long time and has painted competition at the highest of levels for a long time. And Sam doesn't always win, but Sam always does Sam, and it's painted truly like only one person in the world can paint that way, and it's him. And he pushes the envelope, and the quality is insane. And even this year, the scale was insane. And that was Sam's diorama might be my favorite piece in the entire Golden Demon cases this year. Insane and purely Warhammer. And somehow that didn't place. But it's Sam. And so Sam can go to sleep at night knowing he is him, right? And he holds true to what he values. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt him. And it doesn't mean that he's impervious to the frustrations, but it means that like I look up to him a lot, and him truly being himself in his work. And so I'm like, I want to be more like Sam in that. So
okay, awesome.
Let's talk about you though.
Okay.
So you've had a roller coaster of your hobby journey. I feel like your roller coaster, we all go through a roller coaster in our hobby journey, right? There's highs, there's lows, there's times you paint more, there's times that you fall off entirely. Hopefully it's, you're not actually falling off roller coasters, because then you won't get to paint anymore because you'll be dead.
Yeah.
But
or maimed.
But usually it's a little bit, the slopes and peaks and valleys aren't super high and low too close to each other.
Yeah.
And I felt like your roller coaster was cranked up like 5 levels some point over the last 2 years, where there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And
that's accurate.
And it feels like you're now on that part of the roller coaster where it like slowly is like chugging up, and you're feeling like chug. You're getting positivity, but you're not being bipolar about it, where it's just like shoots up super high and inevitably it's going to shoot down super fast.
Yeah.
And I want to hear a little bit about, 1, where you're at now, 2, what kind of led you there, and 3, how are you feeling about maybe just short-term future of painting, not overthinking it.
Yeah. I think what you said is accurate. I feel like I'm definitely like kind of like on the upswing of having a more positive relationship with the hobby. And that's where I'm at right now. And in the future, what I'm nice. Got him. John Stripped ass. What I'm looking for with the hobby is, I don't know. I think I've said something like this in the past, but I'm just really trying to do what is the most fun right now. And so like when I sit down and I just think about like what video ideas I want to work on, I try to frame it in the eyes of a normal hobbyist. Like if I was just Scott doing the hobby, like what would the first ideas be that came to me? Like what would I be most excited for? And then the question comes after, can I frame this in a YouTube way to make it interesting, to have a good thumbnail, a good title? And so instead of starting with the question of, does this work for YouTube? Does this work for the modern climate of content creation? I ask the question, is this exciting to me? And then it goes through the YouTube filter. Because there are a lot of things I'm excited about. There's too many things to be excited about and not enough time. That's the problem, really. So I start there. I just, I've learned over the years that you can't approach the YouTube business like 90% like a business. You need to really try to have as much fun as possible, or else you experience burnout for some amount of time. Mm-hmm. Apparently not you, because you're the stoicism extraordinaire master.
I don't know about that.
I need to learn from you somehow. You seem to be fucking holding on like amazingly all the time, but yeah, I struggle though.
I'm holding on like a mosquito on a windshield.
I can't tell. You seem solid to me, but I understand that. Yeah, there are definitely feelings and emotions that not everyone gets to see. So I totally get that, and so I'm just trying to really make it like a hobby as much as humanly possible, and trying to, be around people who are excited about the hobby, to leech some of their excitement and some of their joy. It's not enough to be in a Facebook group chat and like see all you guys working on great stuff and getting inspired by that. That is one element of it, one aspect of it. But there's a real like person to person thing that I miss when I'm just sitting alone in my basement, being like, should I play Dota now or should I paint minis right now? It's like that's a hard place to be if you're not like super jazzed about the hobby. So getting in front of people, really having like a human like hobby connection really helps a lot with that. And so I'm trying to act like I had to act if I didn't have a YouTube channel, essentially.
I think that's healthy. I also think that's really refreshing, because I think if we look at the YouTube hobby sphere, when I first saw your videos and when there wasn't a lot of people out there doing it, and compare that to today,
yeah,
I think that's one of the things that is, I don't want to say is lost, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it used to be back in those days, where it was strictly passion driven,
yeah,
instead of business driven.
Yes.
And not that you don't factor that in at all at any point of the equation, but I think leading with your passion, your excitement, and trusting yourself that you are a great storyteller, which you are.
Thank you.
And you can find the interesting hooks or ways to present it along the way to really pull people in. Trust in yourself that you can do that, but you don't worry about that until the back half.
Right.
The front half is all, what am I excited about now? Because even if you're a great writer, it can be hard to be excited and show that excitement, and people feel that energy through the screen, and that gives you the energy to keep going. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, and that's why I love conventions so much, is you pull in the positive and exciting vibes. It's like a physical thing that enters you from being in the proximity of other passionate hobbyists.
Yes.
As why, whenever possible, I think of Dan as, I'm going to call Dan Vitamin D from now on.
I love that.
Got him. Because Dan is the vitamin D you need.
The hobby vitamin D.
Yeah, he's hobby vitamin D, because you just you need to absorb that, be in his presence. And it's just like, oh man, I just feel so much more excited and more pumped, and just like the light in his eyes, and talking about a thing and sharing a project he's working on, whatever. He's just the epitome of like a golden retriever for the hobby. He's just so excited. And it's like, yeah, you feed off of that. You get fueled off of that. So even though this hobby is a solitary one, and there's a lot of benefits of that, of being able to go down and in 45 minutes work a bit on a project. When your life's busy, your little hobby space is there for you when you need it. And you don't need to schedule, like you have to schedule a game and you got to schedule all these other things. You don't have to do that for this hobby. But getting out there and getting a little bit of a vitamin D drip in you will make sure that you're going back to that hobby with that hobby desk with excitement.
Dan, if you don't change all your social media handles to vitamin D, what the fuck are you doing? That's what you should name your YouTube channel. If you ever have a channel, that'd be great. Vitamin D.
Yeah. So congratulations, Dan. You have now entered the illustrious group known as we have Vince Prime. We've got Sexy Teeth Joshi. We got Ginger Jesus.
Yeah.
And then we got Vitamin D.
Yeah, it's like the pantheon of TUP characters and whatever it is.
Oh, man, we should have like a superhero group at some point. Vitamin D.
Yeah,
I mean, that could go really raunchy really quick.
It could, yeah.
It could.
Because you're talking about getting a little vitamin D in you. And I'm like,
a little
kind of a little head turn there.
A little vitamin D injection. Listen.
I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It just gets worse.
That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. Okay. Did you have like a singular moment recently, or that that brought this? Was it the hobby night? Was it something leading up to this? Was there like
It was at Adepticon, like I went and demoed Mordheim, and the people there are just so enthusiastic about Mordheim. And I was hanging out with my buddy Scott Hyman, and Scott Hyman is just so enthusiastic about so many things in the hobby. Like there are new Mandalorian units that are coming out. He's like, holy shit, I love Star Wars Legion. We should plan a Star Wars Legion weekend. Like you can paint up an army. I'll pay someone to paint up an army. Love you, Scott. And he's like, and then we'll fucking hang out for the weekend and we'll play that. And then I was like, oh, dude, John Schaefer's working on this thing for Necromunda where it's like an AI-driven co-op thing. He's like, holy shit, I love that. Let's do that. And I'm like, oh my god, like it's so excited. Everything's so hyped for him. And that it just rubs off on me. Like a lot of those things. And then Dan is the exact same way. He's always got some project he wants to work on. He's always got some game he wants to play with you. And every single convo, there's no goodbye with Dan. Goodbye with Dan is let's do this thing next time we hang out. You know, like that's just his whole vibe. And so maybe a confluence of all those things coming together and just really exciting me, like conventions, like you said, tend to do.
I think that's a really healthy way to go forward. Is just, I mean, it's the kind of thing we talk about in our videos a lot, but sometimes it's like easier to like do as I say, not as I do. Where you're like, just find whatever aspect of this hobby you're passionate about, and it doesn't need to be about passionate about forever. It's just passionate about today.
Yeah.
If that thing excites you, do that thing. And seeing real world examples of people that are obviously doing that, you're just like, oh, I feel like I'm 20% off course right now.
Yes.
Because I'm not doing that, and I see you doing that, and I see how much fun you're having, and I want to have that fun with you, and I also want to have that fun, build off that fun when I'm deciding what to sit down and build and paint and collect and all that. And like I want to live within those kind of those means as well. So
yeah,
I think that's a really healthy way. I think at some point I subconsciously made that switch sometime in the last year or two where I didn't overthink about what the video I was going to make was. I was just like, I just finished up painting a plastic piggy for a video. It's a new relic blade kit, and it's actually a plastic sprue kit. And I got those at Adepticon. I was like, oh, I really want to see how good the quality of these are. And I really love these models. They're so cool. I want to get down and paint one. That was it. That was the decision, and that's what I was painting. Figuring it out later is just figuring it out later. But I was like, I'm excited to paint this. And I'm pumped now. I don't know if I'll be pumped in 3 weeks. Not that the model will have gotten worse. It's just like follow the wave, and that works. I mean, does that mean that you're going to have as many banger Squidmar title in movie or videos? Maybe not, but also you'll find that the people are passionate about the things that you're excited about, at least. So
yeah,
it's less stress. I find I make more videos and I have more fun making videos, but I'm not stressed about it being a perfect 100,000 views in the first day. Like if I don't stress about that, I enjoy the process more. And I feel like that's the same thing with your hobby. Like if you're not stressed about it being, this has to be amazing, then just sit down and paint it, and you'll find out it is amazing to you, and you did have a good time. So
yeah, because we're kind of getting to the point where we're like, kind of end game YouTubing, right? Like this is a thing that's going to stick around for a very long time. It's not about it's not a sprint anymore. It's not like, holy shit, I need to make enough money to replace my day job. I feel like there was no transitional period after that. I was working literally 2 full-time jobs, and then once I quit engineering, I was like, I just have 40 more hours I can work on YouTube now. And then I just did.
Yeah.
And like I just kept doing that for years. And then I was like, holy shit, like I really need to sit down and think about how do I do this for 20 years, or however long it's going to last for, And that's a really hard question to answer because it's so easy to put your head down and just sprint and sprint and sprint and sprint for so long. And now it's like, I can't keep sprinting because it will cost me longevity.
Yeah.
And so I need to really think about, as it's kind of lame or dumb as it sounds, I need to really think about like, how do I just do this for a very, very long time and really take that question like super seriously? Like, is it some kind of business life coaching? Is it trying to act like I'm a hobbyist and not a YouTuber? Like, is it, it started with just turning down sponsored videos like that had me paint a specific model, or like severely reducing that. And now it's just getting more and more specific about how I maintain that relationship with the hobby.
Yeah. I think that if you if your relationship with the hobby, whether you are a viewer or you are a content creator or thinking about being a content creator, just a hobbyist that enjoys models, enjoys games, enjoys painting, if your relationship with that hobby is a good one, if it's positive, if it's reciprocal, if it's something that like you look forward to and you can make it a priority because you know it's valuable in your life, if you just follow that, I think the rest, knock on wood, kind of just all works itself out.
That's my theory.
Yeah, and that's what I think going forward both of us are going to do, and we'll find out if it works out or not.
But it's a constant shifting landscape. Like, you're always discovering things that are either going to impact you negatively or positively, and then you're going to do more of that thing and less of the other thing, you know? So I love to tell people that I'm going to do something, but like, then I figure out 2 weeks later that it's like, fuck, like I actually don't want to do it that way, or I want to change it slightly, or I don't want to do it at all. Like, so I don't want to like commit to anything specifically, but like the end goal is just to, really, really enjoy the hobby aspects of it. Obviously, I'm not going to enjoy every aspect of making content all the time. That's totally normal. But the hobby, at the very least, I want to keep as pure as possible.
I had a kind of tying this into Adepticon. You and I got to do, which I feel like it reminded me like, oh, how much fun it is to play games with you, because we don't play a lot of games.
Yeah.
We used to, like when we first started our friendship, like felt like we played a good amount of games together.
Yeah, actually, there's a game I am interested in playing with you because you mentioned it earlier. I'm planning a a AOS Spearhead tournament.
Oh,
which is all Spearhead lists and 6 to 8 players, not single elimination, round robin.
uh-huh.
And you mentioned earlier Spearhead for Skaven. I don't know if you'd be interested.
I'm so close to having them done. That would like kick me in the butt to finish my.
Yeah, so I don't know if you wanted to play in a little Spearhead tournament.
Absolutely, I do. I don't know how to play it very well at all, but that's kind of like I'm going to lean on that. I'm there to have fun.
I don't think that's going to stop you.
No. It's all fun and games till you sit down across the table from each other, and then
there's Curtis.
Yeah. Oh, and then my hat turns around backwards. Absolutely, I would love to do that. Count me in. Right. Because we sat down, we demoed Malediction.
Yeah.
Neither of us, we knew just very basics about the game. We knew the models were like 3D printed STLs, and then when you bought the game was much more reasonably priced because you print them out yourself.
Like $60.
Yeah,
for a whole starter set with 2 factions, because it comes with a code for the STLs. So if you have a printer, print them all out,
and you can get the files for all the amazing ass looking terrain too, which is awesome. But they also have the cardboard in there for just putting the terrain down. Anyway,
right.
So we knew very little. We knew it had a deck building and cards mechanic, and we just sat down and played it. And 2 things were clear. One, the game was pretty easy to pick up, yet I could see the depth.
Mm-hmm.
And we were quickly getting sweaty with strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Which feels really good the very first time you play a game where you can start to see the matrix a little bit. But 2, we immediately got competitive. We were like immediately like trying to figure out crazy strategies. And I'm like, oh, so I can put this equipment in my starting hand on my hero. And then as I summon my hero for the very first time in the game, I can put him right in your fucking backfield. And I could just start smashing with vampire swords on your face. And you dealt with it, and so there was back and forth. It wasn't just like a broken mechanic, but it got me in there. Because if I didn't have my dude right in your face, you would have just shot me off the table, it felt like.
There was a lot of just, I have infinite range magic nukes that I can do. John was like, he doesn't need to see me? There's no measuring? I'm just like playing cards, taking them out of my game, playing them again. It's just like, this feels broken. I feel like when you don't know how to play a game, the way to have a higher chance of winning is just to find the easiest, what seems like broken thing you can do, and just fucking abusing it.
Just hitting that button.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I was doing. I was just trying to burn the candle at both ends, cast as many spells as possible. And it might have not been working, but it was close.
It was close. Yeah, it was fun. And I was like, oh man, I really like playing against you. I remember that, we played Guild Ball.
Hell yeah.
I remember when we would play AOS.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking there were some other games we played that I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
But we played a bunch of games years ago when we were both kind of like, we were still very much hobby first, but also really had a couple of games that we really were excited about and we enjoyed playing and liked to paint for.
Yeah.
And I've fallen off a bit of like having a game that I paint for.
Yeah.
And you've kept up with trying different games and being active with different games. And I still play games on the regular. I don't get you wrong. They just don't happen to be miniature games, you know?
Yes.
I have a regular D&D game. I have a regular miniatures board game night that I play every single Saturday.
Like MTG or...
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I play a lot of Commander. I go to a lot of drafts and pre-releases. Like, I play a lot of games. It's kind of worked itself out that miniatures haven't been a big side of that. But I would love if there was, doesn't have to be all my gaming, but that I'm painting miniatures in my free time more than just for D&D miniatures, because I do that, but it would be like, oh, this would be exciting for me to something to crack on the rest of my Skaven. And I'll feel sometimes about like you're feeling like there's an extra level of accomplishment besides a model you're happy with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like hobby efficiency. It's like not only am I enjoying the paint process and I'm enjoying the outcome of the painting, but also I get to use this in a game. It's like even more enjoyment from the hobby painting process. And it helps me to be excited about the painting as well. Because sometimes, just because of the way I paint, it's very, it can be a little bit arduous. And so it helps to have that little bit of extra like hobby gas to like really motivate you to paint something because there's a fun game or hangout at the end.
Yeah. I just looked down and realized like Dobby is now going to take a nap. Argus is napping right under you, so you get the snoring ASMR. We should just take a nap. Maybe after lunch.
After chicken, yeah, or whatever.
At least I got chicken. I do want to have some hot chip chicken wings today.
Let's do it.
All right. We're so excited about this. My hobby excitement is my
Wrap it
tummy, my tum-tums. Yeah, like I feel pretty good about where I'm at. I'm feeling like positive energies off where you're at. Now I get to stomp. What are you playing in Spearhead? Are you going to play Soul Blight Grailfire?
100%. Yeah.
Is it like all
painted?
Is it all chargy boys?
It's whatever they're allowed. So there's 2 Soul Blight lists. I was talking to Jay, and Jay's, oh man, who is Jay's arch nemesis? Fuck, what's his name?
It's not Nick. It's the other guy. The other guy was there too.
He was. Yeah, we chatted for an extended period of time, and I'm feeling like an asshole because I can't remember his name. But he was there telling me about Soul Blight lists because there's 2. There's one that has all of the skeletal horsemen, which apparently is incredibly broken. And
those new skeletal horsemen are hot models too.
They are really good. And then there's also the one that I'm gonna play, which has the I think it has Blood Knights in it. And also it has the Winged Men. What are they called? Yeah, those. Yeah, the Bat Boys. Those guys, some skeletons and vampires.
Dire bats?
Yeah, dire bats. No, not the actual bats. The Vargeists. Those ones.
Oh, right.
Like the flesh eater
crypt flares are the non-winged, and Vargeists are the winged.
Yeah. Like crypt stalker fiends.
You should do a kit bash to make cooler models than those ones.
I know. I don't like them.
I don't like them either.
Yeah, there's like naked bat guys.
They're so like the concept of what they are. They could make such badass models for those.
Yeah,
but those ones that they have are not.
Yeah, I feel like they need like armor on them. It's like they're just all naked dude.
Yeah, they are butt naked.
Yeah.
Like they literally have nothing cover their butt crack. You have to paint in the butt crack.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
And the hair goes all the way into that butt crack.
That would be great. You just paint one of those and just freehand
some hairy crack.
Fucking treasure trails down the front.
We all know you got hairy assholes. Okay?
Yeah. Listen. They don't have the Manscaped partnership where they get the butthole hair remover in the great world of Age of Sigmar.
But yeah, that's the list I would run. The Vargeist, the skeletons, the vampire, and I think it's got Blood Knights in it, but I can't remember. Yeah, because I got it all painted and ready to rip.
You know what I'm totally not going to do? I'm definitely not after this, probably over lunch on my phone, I'm going to dig into what all the spearheads are and which ones are good.
Yeah. You're not even going to paint the Skaven one. You're just going to paint the one that...
I don't think the Skaven ones are that good.
I'm going to start watching Spearhead fucking videos on strategy and shit.
Yeah, because the list the ones that I have that I'm painting up is mostly like Rat Ogres, and Rat Ogres, like, they have a bunch of hit points and they hit hard, but they die so easy for how many points they are.
Low armor save kind of stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they can smash, but I can get those fucking boom cannons.
Oh yeah,
dude. I want just 2 rats and an 8-foot sniper rifle.
Oh yeah, what are they called? Giselles or
Giselles.
Yeah.
Which sounds very French.
It does.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. The French shoot from a long ways away and then run away.
Ooh, classic French joke.
Oui.
Fucking wrecked.
I met this French guy at Adepticon, and he was hanging out with Sam. He showed up with him for dinner one night, and just a spicy Frenchman. And just
a lot of hot takes.
Just a lot of hot takes. Everything out of his mouth was he criticized how I said, I can't remember what it was, croissant. I just started saying things in his silly French, silly British niggets. I just because I could tell he was jovial. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
drinking a couple beers.
He could take it.
And then after like a couple hours, he started talking about Quebec. I'm like, whoa. And he's like, what? I'm like, are you French Canadian? He goes, of course. I'm like, okay, bud.
You've been cheated.
Yeah, I've been cheated. I thought I was talking to an actual Frenchman. Not this Walmart brand Frenchman. Boom, got him.
Is Alex Dos Santos Quebec?
Yeah.
Okay. Walmart brand Frenchman?
Yeah. Hey, Alex, I know you listen to the podcast. I get that Savers Club. Special value Frenchman. Oh man, what's the Target brand, fake brand stuff?
Oh, Everyday Essentials. No, that's Cub. That's Cub, right? I can't remember what it is.
Dude, Everyday Essentials Frenchman just sounds so great. Wait.
So how do you pronounce croissant? That's how an American would say croissant. How does a Frenchman pronounce?
He said it exactly how I said it.
Croissant.
Yeah,
that's how you say it.
Wow.
You sound, as an American, we get that's how you say it, but when we say it that way, we just feel like an asshole. And that's the same for Vallejo. It's the same for jalapeno. Nah, jalapeno is fine. Quesadilla is fine. But there are certain Spanish words that when you say it in the correct pronunciation, for some reason, I just feel like an asshole,
Right.
Like I'm trying too hard.
Right. Yeah, the problem is you are a white man. So anything you say, at least if you have good intentions, which I feel we do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to culturally appropriate anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to absorb and be in appreciate your culture.
Not trying to sound smart when I say croissant,
Yeah.
But there's something about it.
Yeah.
I sound like an asshole,
Exactly.
I can't go to fucking Starbucks and order a venti mocha, whatever the fuck you order at Starbucks, and a croissant,
They're like, I'm sorry, what, sir?
Yeah. Can you say that again, sir? I would like a croissant.
Give me the little flaky half moon, please.
Yeah. We'll start doing that instead.
Oh, man. So, anyway, I love you, French Canadians. I was just giving you a hard time.
Yeah. So, hold on. One thing I want to talk about, we talk about how the hobby changed. And I feel like the way that I am noticing it changing more and more is it's just getting so big.
Yeah.
There are new content creators. There are new really amazing painters that like I haven't heard of, or people that I was aware of a long time ago that are now competing at Golden Demon levels and succeeding and stuff like that. More than ever, I am realizing just how large our hobby has become.
Yeah, and just the amount of games, the kind of what you'd call startups or indie games are bigger, and there's more of them, and they're getting support enough that they're profitable, that keeps that market growing. So it's beyond just Games Workshop's doing well, so that the hobby is solid. It's to the point where Games Workshop is so big that people are looking for other things elsewhere, which means there's a market for that. A very similar thing happened not too many years ago. So I think we're probably about 5 years behind the same trajectory of the tabletop RPG world, where 5th edition D&D for Wizards of the Coast was so massive and grew so much that the people grew out of it. And I don't mean that in like the game was bad. I mean that they're looking elsewhere. They're looking for other options. They're looking for other, niches. They're looking for other kinds of games. And it's like, we've done this. We like it. What else is out there? And that just allowed all these other games, startups or other companies to flourish and to give so many more options. And because the market is big enough, they're able to really support that. And I think we're going through that renaissance right now in this hobby. And I think it's only going to make it all better across the board. More options, more specificity. The one thing that I think is differentiating between this and the RPG world is if you, me, and Vitamin D want to play the Dune RPG, we can we can play an entire campaign. We can tell an amazing story. We can have all these emotional highs and lows, and we can see it all the way through to the end with just the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
But a community for a tabletop miniatures game is a little bit different.
Okay.
I feel like, not that you can't do it with just three, but there's this level of buy-in of like, well, but if I get into this game and I buy the miniatures, are there going to be enough local people to play it with? And if not, it'll either lead to a feel-bad moment for my investment, or I'll choose not to because I don't have any faith that there's going to be people to play with. And so that's where I think there's a little bit of a difference. And so I don't know if it's going to be a one-to-one translation of how that works. But if you are very happy on the hobby side of it, you know, if you don't know if anyone locally is going to be able to play Relic Blade with you, if you love the models, paint up a build and paint a couple of warbands, and you get satisfaction in that. If you can get someone to try out the game with you, that's all bonus.
Right. You know, admittedly, that's never something that I'm really thinking about, is like, can I find someone to play this game with me? I'm so fortunate to have, you know, Vitamin D and others in my life who are just so down to do anything, it seems like.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm like willing to, Toppy is literally trying to open the door with his hands.
He can, sometimes he can do it. He doesn't have, he doesn't have thumbs, but there are certain knobs, if they're loose enough knobs, he'll take both paws. And he knows how to pull. He knows righty, tighty, lefty, loosey.
Yeah, he kind of.
And he pulls at him, and he can yank the door open. Because he's a big smart cat. He's had enough in here. He wanted to come in and hang out with us and see what was going on. He sat on your lap for a while, and now he's like, guys, this episode needs to be over. Which, it's good timing, because I think it is about time for this episode to be over. So we've solved all the world's problems, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. Welcome to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out all the way to the end and having us assault your ears with hobby goodness and other unrelated stuff. We appreciate you so much.
It's been a literal Dr. Doolittle down here in my basement.
Sorry. Whenever I hear those two words, it just sends me.
Yeah, so it's been a while since we...
No. Different song, though.
All right, so we're 6 feet from the edge of this podcast. I could do this all day.
You could. God damn, you could.
So yeah, it's been a whole party in here. We've had me, we've had Scott, we've had Argus, we've had Dobby. I think little kitty, I don't remember her name, Luna. I just call her Little Kitty. She's been up at the top of the stairs, wanted to get into. Yeah. But we've got to tell them it's time. It's time for us to wrap this up. We got a lot of fun talking about Hobby Journey, talking about looking back at Adepticon 2026 and other randomness like Golden Teenage Mutant Ninja Dollars.
If you like this podcast and you want to support it, there are a lot of ways you can do that. Earlier, we mentioned Patreon, which gets you access to all sorts of fun stuff. It also gets you access to an extended portion of the podcast that's about 20 minutes longer. Lots of extra fun details about Adepticon, about some of the models that we loved from the Golden Demon case and why we loved them. You can also support the podcast through other ways. We have some merch that's available via Teespring. Links down in the show notes or description below, depending on where you're listening. If you have no money to give us, that's totally fine as well. Lots of ways to support the podcast. You can watch our videos on YouTube, whitelisted or with ads enabled, and we get a little kickback for that for each view. You can also spread the word about our podcast with your other hobby friends. Your mom, your dog, everyone in between wants to know about TUP, because TUP fucking rules. Give us a rating wherever you're listening to the podcast, whether it's Stitcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Google Podcasts. Give us a little rating and a review. That really helps as well.
All right, we're going to be back in a fortnight. That is 14 days. There, you learned something. Until then, we'll see you on the
Flippity Flop.